Okay, so here are some IXL problems for you on the zero product property. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do on these is we're just going to take, I'm going to work in red here. We're going to take this piece, and we know that our answers are when those equal 0. Okay, so we have to set them equal to 0. So it's very easy when there's nothing in front of the f or the variable, right? Because all we're doing is like a one-step equation. So we set f minus 2 equal to 0, and we set f plus 1 equal to 0. And we solve them. We add 2 to both sides, and we get f equals 2. There's one of my answers. That would go right there. We subtract 1 from both sides. We get f is equal to -1. We put the -1 right there, and we are done. Okay, so that's the zero product property, right? It says that if I know my answer is equal to 0, then either this has to be equal to 0 or this has to be equal to 0. Those are my two possible answers. Okay, let's look at one that might be a little trickier. Okay, so we're still going to set them equal to 0, but we have a little bit harder equation to solve in one of them. In this equation over here, we have a two-step equation, which is still something everybody should know how to do. We're going to come over here. We're going to add 9 to both sides. And we get y equals 9. There's one answer. Okay, and then over here, remember we add 5, which would give me 9y is equal to 5. Divide by 9. There's my second step. Y is equal to 5/9. So you would come up here, and on these problems on IXL, guys, they just want you to write 5, the division symbol, and 9. Okay, so that is a second answer. Okay, if you put either of those in, you would get 0. If you put 9 in here, 9 minus 9 would be 0, and 0 times whatever is here, we know is 0. Second case, if we put 5/9 in, and we multiply it by 9, we get 5. 5 minus 5 would be 0, and that multiplied by whatever is here would be 0. And that's why those are my two answers. And we're already up at about the 80% problem level on the IXL, okay? Now on this one, don't get confused on these. We just use that little piece there. 9d would be equal to 0. And then we set the second piece, d minus 7 equal to 0. Divide by 9. 0 divided by anything is 0. So one answer is 0. Add 7. D equals 7. That should make sense, right? If you put 0 in here, 0 times 9 is 0. 0 times whatever's here is 0. And that's why it's my answer. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. So those are nice and easy when there's, the variable is by itself or just multiplied by a number. Okay, now last one I'll do. It's probably the hardest one. It was from like the 93 percentile. It's up there. Again, we just set z plus 1 equal to 0. And then we set the second one. And the reason this one is tricky is because we have negatives, and we got to be careful when we have negatives, right? So the first one, we're just going to subtract 1 from both sides. So z equals -1. The -1 would go there, and you're done. Over here, just be careful of your negatives. We add 1 first. That would give me -7z equals 1. Divide by -7. And my answer z is equal to -1/7. Okay, so you would put that answer in up here, -1 divided by 7. Okay, so those get you through all the problems in IXL for this section. I think you'll find that once you get going on it, it's not too hard, and you'll be able to get your score up pretty quick. All right, good luck.